We are live from the Mad Bomber podcast from beautiful downtown Oakdale, California. And you are watching the Mad Bomber podcast.
Complete mess. We have a workhorse in Ashton Jeanty. Need to feed him the ball. Everyone's saying, well, the offensive line is bad up front. To get the offensive line in the game, you have to run the ball. You have to go downhill at these guys. You have to dictate the tempo of the game. If you have guys backing up and you're dropping back 35, 40 times with Geno Smith, it's not going to work. And Chip, in his infinite wisdom, thinks that we cannot run the ball and still get play action to work. You were talking about it before. You have to threaten them a little bit with the run and get your play action going. We're running play action out of the shotgun. We're putting it in Geno's hands, and Geno is turning it over left and right. So I think Chip Kelly, his issue is he thinks he's smarter than everybody, and he's going to let you know that he's smarter than everybody. But in the NFL, there's a lot of smart guys, and there's a lot of great players. So this bullshit offense that he was running is not working. And Chip needs to look himself in the mirror and ask himself about the personnel decisions they've made, the offensive line that they've trotted out there. We have our right guard go down, a second-round pick, Jackson Powers-Johnson, and they're pulling him in and out of the lineup. He's our second-best offensive lineman next to Colton Miller. So a highly touted Oregon guy, right? Remington Award winner. This guy is the best center in the nation. He's a second-round pick. So let's put him at right guard and have him rotate with Alex Kappa, who is the worst pass-blocking guard in the NFL. Now, Jackson Powers goes down. What are we going to do? We're going to start two undrafted free agents, Will Putnam and Jordan Meredith, undersized guys, and we're not going to play our third-round picks. We have two third-round studs that we've had. So I'll wrap this up. I think there's a lot of funk around the Raiders organization right now, and those fingers need to be pointed at Chip Kelly. Because that defense is good enough for them to win. No run game, play action out of shotgun, running reverses and all this stuff. It's a mess.
Wow, bullshit offense is what he said. Richie Incognito, not a guy to mince words. He's the guy that's going to tell you straight what it is. There were a few things in that little tidbit there that made me pissed off. Bullshit offense was one of them, and then your play action passes on out of the shotgun. We've heard about this all year long regarding the style of offense he has, and everybody's been saying this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, especially when they were talking about his failure to continue with the run. There's been times right now where Ashton Jeanty has had 3 carries in one half. So what I want to do is I want to bring on the Oracle. Oracle, ¿qué pasa, amigo?
Oh man, I'm in the laboratory.
Are you?
You're in the arcade, and in beautiful Oakdale, California. I'm in beautiful Carlsbad, California, and definitely a lot there that caught my attention too, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm in the beautiful man cave today, but you know what I kind of put into perspective, and again, when you listen to Richie Incognito talk, it's not somebody that's going to mince words.
No.
So he's going to tell it to you like it is. He's that old school lineman, one of Gruden's favorite players, that's for sure. But what he was talking about when he was talking about the he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room stuff, and we've heard little rumblings here and there. We really don't know what's going on. I'm sure after the year we'll get a little bit better grip on what's going on, not only with Chip Kelly, what happened with Chip Kelly, but on my blacklist is, which means that I'm looking. My blacklist means that I'm going to look to see what's going on next with John Spytek. I mean, he had this draft where we took Darian Porter. I don't know who took that. It seems like it may have been a Pete pick because of the tall, lanky, athletic corner. Big corner, not lanky, big corner. That's what he likes. The Legion of Doom, Boom. That's what they were. They were big cover 3 guys. that just took up as much field as they could. Big, long, lanky guys. Number 2 that's on my blacklist right now is obviously Pete Carroll. And now that I'm saying that Pete Carroll and Spytek are on my blacklist, Chip Kelly was on my blacklist, right? Well, that was Richie Incognito talking before Chip Kelly got handed his pink slip. So, and bear with me a little bit here, Oracle, because I want to hear what you think about this, because we haven't even brought Tom Brady into this thing yet. Okay. But the dynamic right now, okay, Oracle, I'm going to make you play Mark Davis. Okay. I'm going in after the game on Sunday and going, Mark, I'm going to fire my offensive coordinator because we'll find out after the end of the season on the Mad Bomber podcast. We don't know right now, but what we do know is anytime that you have to make a deal, that means Mark Davis has got to bring in John Spytek, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Tom Brady. I would think that he's been at least conferred because that's his money being paid, right?
Yeah, that would make sense.
It makes sense, right? So here's how the meeting goes. Hey, Mark, I'm getting rid of Chip Kelly tonight. Whoa, hold on. You mean I have to pay him $12 million for 10 games? Yes, Mark. And well, hold on, Pete. Why are you playing Tyler Lockett 60 plays when we have Jack Bech, Deontay Thornton? So if we're going to do that, what do you think, John Spytek? Should we see our rookies for the rest of the year? Because obviously we're not going anywhere. Now, does that conversation happen? And let me do another olive branch on that. Pete Carroll today said he ain't telling you anything until it comes on Sunday because he says that he doesn't want to let the Chargers know what's going on. So if I'm and John Spytek's on my blacklist, I think if I'm John Spytek, wouldn't you want to say, hey, bud, let's go ahead and see what we have so that I want to see what kind of third-round picks we have with Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant. Why are we playing Darian Porter? And the Oracle's in the laboratory. We're going to talk about Darian Porter today. But how come Jack Bech is only on the field? And I mean, this was talked to by the Raider beat writers were saying the only time Jack Bech comes on the field is when they run the ball because Deontay Thornton can't block. So, okay, you think that the defensive coordinators from all these NFL teams, from the 31 other NFL teams, don't know that? So here's my dilemma. There's a lot of moving parts, and we talk about this all the time. And it kind of blew me away. You got the Shanahans, you got the Harbaughs. Both Harbaughs once had, and the Ravens has been there many, many years. Then you have Tomlin from the Steelers. You know who the number one guy is. You know who's running the ship. There's, you know when you walk in there, and we've talked about how he's made Aaron Rodgers stay off the Pat McAfee show pretty well. Somebody did. I mean, if I'm a betting man, and I am after November 1st, yes, that's what happened. So, Oracle, talk about Richie Incognito, and this is a long-winded question. And then what do you think about that little meeting? I mean, they fired his ass within an hour after that game.
Yeah, it was very quick.
You and I just got off the air on Sunday, and he was fired. So you have the floor, young man.
Well, when it comes to developing players, there was a guy when we were on the Sunday podcast who typed in a question. He's like, hey, Oracle, did you see the quote that it was either Pete Carroll or on the broadcast, them talking about, is Pete Carroll developing the younger players? And I saw a quote this week on the internet, and it talked about how Pete Carroll really wants these guys to compete, and he's not just going to give away jobs. And we keep hearing this thing with Pete Carroll, the calm Pete. But I wonder how the players feel about the calm Pete, because competing is great. It's great in training camp. It's great in training camp when no one has a record of 0-0 and everyone thinks that they have a shot at the Super Bowl. But when the Raiders are at the point of the season that they're at now, and they need to understand that, hey, things didn't go according to plan. However, we have these young draft picks that we drafted. It would make sense to see what they have. And there's one thing to say, hey, we want competition. We want to start the best player. But at the same time, draft picks are investments. And with investments, you want to see things pay off. And kind of like with raising kids, sometimes there's going to be some stumbling blocks along the way. It's not always going to go up and away. And I could see where if you want to have competition and you feel like maybe they're not going to play as well as the other guys, but sometimes you need to have some of these players have bad film, because whether it's a rookie like Caleb Rogers or Charles Grant or Jack Bech, they need, not only do the players need to see what they need to work on, the coaches need to see what they need to work on. The front office, John Spytek, Tom Brady, Mark Davis, whoever's involved needs to see what the players need to work on, because they need to see if going into next offseason, what are the team needs? And whether it's receiver with Jack Bech and Dante Thornton, do we need another receiver? Well, we need to see Jack Bech and Dante Thornton on the field. The offensive line, we're going to have new offensive linemen coming in the offseason, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. But we need to see with Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant, do we have guys that we could continue developing? Because if that's the case, if we don't believe that Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant, if they are further along in the progression than we need, then we need to spend some more money on offensive linemen. And if it's vice versa, then we could say, hey, Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant are guys that we believe can develop into starters next season. So maybe we don't have to place such a premium on that. Maybe we could place a premium on getting a linebacker, getting another safety. So they need information. And if there's some sort of disconnect between Pete Carroll and John Spytek about compete and develop, that's what John Spytek wants to see. He wants to see develop. Oh, no. And if there's some sort of disconnect on that, then that's definitely a problem, because then we don't have organizational alignment. And it's a lot harder to win in the NFL when you don't have organizational alignment. With Richie Incognito, he's someone that's played a decade in the league. He's had a lot of different offensive line coaches. He's played in a ton of schemes. So he knows a thing or two about football, and especially offensive line play. The real interesting thing, that if he were to say something like, Chip Kelly thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. Now, the interesting thing about that is he never played with Chip Kelly. So you have to think to yourself, well, how would he know that? Well, right. Richie Incognito played for the Raiders, and some of the guys that were on the Raiders back then are still on the team now. So someone probably told him that in the building that, hey, this Chip Kelly guy, he's making $6 million a year. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. And part of the reason he's going to think he's the smartest guy in the room is because he's making $6 million a year. If you're a lot more highly paid than other people, you're definitely going to feel a sense of superiority to them. So a big problem with Chip throughout his entire career, whether it's college or with the pros, is relating to players. And I think that's, people can make a big deal about the Tom Pelissero report about him not tagging the motions, him calling plays that weren't installed. While that may be true, it may not be true. But I think even if it were true, I think the bigger problem is him thinking he's smarter than other people, because those things that Pelissero said are things that could maybe be worked out. But if Chip Kelly has a sense of superiority, then I think the players are like, you know what? I'm tired of this guy in the building. And I think Pete sensed that. And he felt like he needed to make a move.
I don't do this much. I don't do this often. And Oracle knows that I know a lot of people in the Raiders, and I can tell you there was a few times when I was told early, right after the Chicago game, and I'm not going to be the guy that I have reliable sources, because I don't have reliable sources, but I have somebody that's on the field a lot that follows with the Raiders. And he said there was no doubt in his mind that Chip Kelly was not liked by the other coaches. No, I didn't know that. And I went, well, are you sure? And he goes, and I don't do this because I don't like doing that, because it's not something that I would ever put out. If you know this show, we don't do the TMZ. We will not speculate, even, and there's a lot of stuff that comes on the internet, and we're not going to jump on that stuff until we know for sure. And that's usually happens probably right about a month after the Super Bowl. The stories start flying and people are getting fired, and then there'll be reports by the usual guys. You hear it from somebody like Schefter or somebody that's Daniel Jeremiah and the guys like that. That it's been washed out before it's been rinsed, and it's true. But this was true, and I know it was true because I know the gentleman who told me. He's very close, and it was like the coaches did not like Chip Kelly. That it was a pompous ass attitude that he was bringing in. So we get rid of him, and now we're moving forward with Greg Olson. So the Oracle listens to me. Believe it or not, he actually listens to me. And I told him, you gotta listen to the Cars. And believe me, I am not a Kardashian. Never was, never will be. I do not want Derek Carr back. Okay, I'm never slam him. I think in 2016 he was an amazing quarterback, and that's where I'll end it. But his podcast, what is it called again? I got it IQ'd up. It's called The Quarterback Room or something, where him and David Carr actually make some funny takes, and they really make some real takes. And Oracle made me a happy guy today. He said, hey, I heard the Carr podcast, and go ahead, Oracle, tell them what you heard that makes me a little bit oh, here we go. Matt Marinovich, thank you. Homegrown podcast. I mean,
Yeah.
You're not listening to the Matt Barber podcast, the Matt Barber podcast from beautiful Johnny Donut Studios. Homegrown has been a fun one to watch. Those two guys are so polar opposites, and they're funny dipshits, is what I'll say. Is they're funny. So Oracle, without further ado, tell him what Greg Olson, a 4-time fired Raider offensive coordinator, what they said about Greg Olson.
Oh wow, he's been fired 4 times. He's like the Raiders version of Billy Martin. But first of all, you're not in Johnny's Donuts today. You're in Johnny's Arcade. But with I really wanted to see what Derek Carr had to say about Greg Olson, because he had played under Greg Olson, and one thing that really caught my eye was Derek Carr said that he likes to throw the ball to the tight ends.
Yes, and
with no Michael Mayer out, it's going to be probably more Ian Thomas. We'll see how much Ian Thomas plays compared to Dante Thornton and Jack Besh, if they're going to still be in some 2 tight end sets, if they're going to be in 3 wide receiver sets. Now, Tyler Lockett is dealing with an ankle and a quad, so that might be another receiver down. So that would probably make Dante Thornton the number 2 receiver, and then Jack Besh number 3 receiver.
Right.
So it'll be very interesting to see who's active on game day. But I think getting the ball to the tight ends, because I think they definitely need to make Brock Bowers more of the primary read. And understanding that last week they were playing the Cleveland Browns and you had to game plan against Myles Garrett, there were a couple plays where Brock Bowers was out there in pass protection, but I definitely wanted to see Ian Thomas on the field a lot more to be the designated chipper. And I believe that they need to treat Brock Bowers more like a receiver than a tight end, and just don't get him in chipping. I mean, understanding he's going to have to block some in the run game, but he can't be a chipper, in my opinion. He needs to be a receiver on every play, because if it's not going to Brock Bowers, it needs to go to Trey Tucker. And whether it's Tyler Lockett, Dante Thornton, Michael Mayer when he's healthy, Jack Besh, those need to be the guys who are the secondary or tertiary reads in the progressions. It needs to be Bowers, Tucker, in that order. You could vice versa it, and then the other guys. So I definitely would love to see.
Let's be real. The Raiders do not have a really great blocking tight end. Mike Mayer is a better blocking tight end than Brock Bowers. Ian Thomas is a really good blocking tight end. The reason I've jumped in, sorry,
you're good.
that Carter Runyon is a guy that they've been really they really like, and I could see them still going to that 3 tight end set because and we can. I mean, there's Carter Runyon has done everything. I just heard on Pete Carroll's press conference, they mentioned Carter Runyon twice. And they said that his guy's been doing nothing but winning and winning and winning and winning while he's competing. And they're talking about him big time coming up. So I could see them sticking to the 3 tight ends. But realistically, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, in the offseason, if we can get a 2 or 3 for Michael Mayer, it's got to go. This guy has been hurt. First season he was hurt. And believe me, when he's on the field, he's an absolute star. But I'm starting to feel Darren Waller syndrome with this guy. And Darren Waller got us Trey Tucker. That was the number 3. I don't want to be what do they say? The best ability is what, Oracle?
It's availability.
Availability. And if this cat isn't available for us, and he's not that great of a blocker, he's good. He's not George Kittle, that's for sure. And that's what I think when you talk about rebuilding this offensive line or building this offensive line, I think that you got to go ahead and you said Darnell Washington. Boy, I would love that. That's about the biggest man in the NFL.
Yeah.
He plays for Pittsburgh. But so if you guys didn't know that, he's a big guy. But we need an MRF like a Lee Smith when we got Lee Smith from the Buffalo Bills, and he was kind of there. Anyway, we'll finishing up Oracle. Finish up on then. Let's get to the film study, which is our geek family out there loves the geeky films. But before we go into the films, let's show a little bit more mud. And there was one thing that Incognito said. Is he said the defense is playing good enough to win these games. And there's been some blowouts, but I'll go ahead and agree because they're on the field quite a bit, you know.
Yeah.
They're on the field quite a bit. But let's go ahead. While I was in Vegas last week, I saw this on the sideline and I had to dig for this. And this is disturbing to me. I see this from the sidelines, and this is after the Sean Judkins Wildcat. Remember they brought out Shadir?
Yeah.
And look. You got Patrick Graham. Here's when I start to look at leadership, okay? This is when I start to look at leadership, okay? You're off the field. You got Landon Roberts is pissed, and I'll tell you why he's pissed. Because I saw the play he's talking about, and unfortunately, we're not going to see this play tonight. But there was the Wildcat, and Quishon Judkins ran in, and he ran right where Landon Roberts was playing. Max was playing the 9 technique, and Landon Roberts was playing his inside hip, and he went the wrong way. He went inside, and so did Max, and that's when Quishon Judkins went to the outside of the tackle and broke in. And I remember seeing Max Crosby turn around and he put his arms out like, what the hell? And this is what ensued after that.
Now you're right, bro.
Well, you got the linebackers on one side. You got the offensive defensive line on the right side there. They're yelling at each other. You see Jamal Adams trying to throw down Landon Roberts.
Now you're right, bro.
You got Patrick Graham in the middle. It's disturbing to see that. I like the fire, but Patrick Graham's been on my blacklist too. So that's the kind of things that I'm looking at. And again, I like to look inside the game within the game. and see like the Spytek versus Carroll, Spytek versus Brady, and then now Chip Kelly's gone. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and first and foremost, we want to show you a couple plays that from the Raider game, the Oracle breakdown, and then we will go right into the Chargers offense, because that's where we're going to have the most. If we're going to be able to win, this is how we're going to do it. So let's watch this. Oracle. Oh, remove. That's the wrong one. My bad. We'll get back to that one.
Oh man, we got a good one for that one.
It'll be first and goal for.
Okay,
Oracle.
So first, this is we got cover 0 here. So this is the big play where Shedeur is going to hit Isaiah Bond for the 52-yard gain, putting him on the goal line. We got Darnay Holmes, who's going to get beat badly in man coverage by Isaiah Bond, running a kind of a banana route on him. However, the most important thing that I don't think is being talked about enough at this play is on the right side of the line. We have Max Crosby, who's lined up in a 9 technique, and then we have Tyree Wilson, who's kind of lined up in a 5 technique right over the right tackle. Now, when you have Tyree Wilson and Max Crosby next to each other, you're going to have, and they're both have their hand down the line of scrimmage. A lot of times the Cleveland offensive line is going to be a little more worried about Max Crosby because, well, he's Max Crosby. And the line of, if you watch the center here, he's going to slide left because there's more potential rushers on the left side of the line. They have about 7 guys on the line that are potential rushers on this play. You have Troy Polamalu, who's lined up over Jerome Ford. He's the wingback next to the left tackle. He's going to go into coverage. And then you're going to have 6 guys rush. Jeremy Chin is the guy who's standing up in the A-gap, him and Devin White. They're both going to rush. But because the line slides left, it leaves the right side kind of uncompromised. And Tyree Wilson's going to be able to rush free. Now, Tyree Wilson needs to do a way better job in this situation of staying balanced. Now, we talked about balance a couple weeks ago when it comes to Brock Bowers and receivers staying balanced, but also as a pass rusher, you need to understand that it's cover 0 behind you. So that means that I need to make sure that I don't take myself out of the play, because there's a really good chance that if one of these receivers beats my corner badly, then Shedeur's going to see it and he's going to have an easy completion. There's no deep safety behind him that's going to be able to come over and help. So Tyree Wilson needs to rush Shedeur Sanders with balance. And if he loses balance and if he goes for a shoestring tackle, he's going to take himself out of the play. And that's one less rusher that Shedeur's going to have in his face. And if Tyree Wilson's able to stay square and run left when Shedeur runs left, that's going to put pressure on Shedeur to understand, oh my God, there's another rusher that I need to account for. And maybe you'll have incomplete pass, throw it out of bounds, or maybe even an interception. Or maybe it could be a sack. But because Tyree Wilson is going to go for a shoestring tackle on Shedeur, you're going to see this big completion right here.
2 guys in the A-gap. They're down at 8. Here comes the pressure. Running
Completely
away from
missed.
it is Sanders. He's looking long. He's got a man. Caught at the 10-yard line. Bonds. He's 2 guys in the A-gap. They're down at 8.
And look, if Tyree Wilson wants to get
Right
his fifth, right there. He instead of running left with Shedeur, he goes for the shoestring tackle. It doesn't even come close. And that's a big reason why Shedeur was able to see Isaiah Bond open on Darnay Holmes down the field.
See, right here is what he's talking about, folks. Right?
Completely free. Jailbreak rush.
At 8. Here comes the pressure.
touches him.
Running away from it is Sanders. He's looking long. He's got a man. Caught at the 10-yard line. Bonds.
So that right there pretty much was the game, because then it came into, and again, anytime you're going to give a rookie, first-time rookie quarterback a little bit of juice, not too good. So then let's go ahead and look at one more play before I show Ashton. Okay, right here. So let's go back, Oracle. This is a 3rd and long.
Yeah. So 3rd and long, you're going to see 2 deep safeties here. We got Polamalu, who's the safety at the top of the screen. And then we have Lonnie Johnson, who's going to be the safety at the bottom of the screen. Now, this looks like it's cover 2 or cover 4, but it's actually, when the ball is snapped, you're going to see Lonnie Johnson come down and play the robber role, and it's going to be a cover 3. Now, it's going to be a short little pass to Harold Fannin, who's coming into chip, and then he goes out into the pattern, catches the ball. Now, the big problem here is the way Lonnie Johnson pursues Harold Fannin. So there's something what's called a force defender. And what the force defender does is he's supposed to force the ball carrier, Harold Fannin, back inside towards the 2 best tacklers on the Raiders, which is Devin White and Jeremy Chinn. However you want to knock their tackling ability, these are the 2 best tacklers the Raiders have right now. Because Lonnie Johnson goes for another shoestring tackle, just like we talked about in the last play, that is going to throw Harold Fannin towards the left, and that's going to make Devin White and Jeremy Chinn have to redirect and keep going left a little bit more. Now, what's going to happen with that is Harold Fannin is going to take he's going to be able to build up a little momentum as he's going down towards the first down marker. And as Devin White and Chinn make contact, he's able to keep going and get the first down. But the big reason that happened is because Lonnie Johnson didn't play his force defender responsibilities properly. He needs to attack the shoulder of Harold Fannin that is toward the sideline right there. And if he would have went for a wrap-up tackle instead of trying to go for the shoestring tackle, that would have allowed Devin White and Jeremy Chinn to pursue better and get him on the ground, and then you would have had a 4th down. But instead, because Lonnie Johnson didn't play the force defender responsibility properly, you ended up with a 1st down.
Right. And so, us as fans, we always hear we need to do the little things right. And so guys at home, fans at home, we pay attention to detail. And these are the things that you did separate guys that go to the Pro Bowl and their team wins, as opposed to teams that are always suffering. I don't know if it's a byproduct of bad scouting, and then we're getting these types of players. And again, Lonnie Johnson just came back. He's a veteran. He's been around many teams. So this is what happens when you can't get quality guys to make quality plays. Now that's a 3rd and long. Now they have the ball for a new set of downs. And they actually do go down the field, all the way down the field on this one. So if Lonnie Johnson makes that play, pay attention to detail, do all the little things right, make sure that you're in good position. And you hear all this stuff you'll hear it from Patrick Graham all the time in his press conferences, and you'll hear it from Pete Carroll when he's talking about technique. That's the case of technique. And that's the case of someone using bad technique. Do I think Lonnie is a bad player? No. And you know what? He's actually had some bright spots. But what we're trying to show you is that is the kind of shit that happens to shit teams because they don't pay attention to detail. We showed a tape last week on the blocking on DJ Glaze, and we're running a sweep to the right, but his first move is a left foot. Okay, now we're not playing against, the West Side High School Wranglers where you can get away with that shit. You have to have technique, and that's the good players. And fortunately for me, I got to watch a lot of good technique in the 70s and 80s Raiders teams because their offensive line was always well. And let's see, you have a Hall of Fame lineman, you have a Hall of Fame center, you have a Hall of Fame guard, you have a Hall of Fame. Now all of a sudden we have Hall of Fame receivers, Hall of Fame tight ends, Hall of Fame quarterbacks, Hall of Fame running backs. You know what I mean? Guys, it goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. All right, the next one we want to see before this is going to make the Oracle. Watch the Oracle's face through this. Let's watch this.
All right, so we got 4th and 4 right here. We have what's going to be a wheel route by Tyler Lockett. And this makes no sense to me on many different levels.
Oracle, explain to the folks at home what a wheel route is.
So a wheel route is when
I'll go slow by slow. So
okay.
The rest of us know what a wheel route is.
So what we have is we have Trey Tucker, who's at the top of the screen. He's going to motion in. You're going to have a bunch set.
That's those three guys, right?
Yeah. So you have Trey Tucker, who's at the top. You have Dante Thornton, who's in between Trey Tucker and Tyler Lockett. And then you're going to have Brock Bowers down at the bottom of the screen. Tyler Lockett, who is the inside receiver in the bunch set down here, he's going to run. Think of it like a wheel going this way, how it's shaped. So he's going to run a route that goes like this. And on 4th and 4, that's not a route that really makes a whole lot of sense to me. On 4th and 4, I would like to see a route, kind of like what I said earlier, where you have Brock Bowers as the primary read and Trey Tucker as the secondary read, or in some sort of vice versa order of that. Now, here we have Brock Bowers chipping on Myles Garrett, and I would like to see Ian Thomas be the chipper in that situation, especially on a crucial down like 4th and 4. I would like to see. It's okay if the defense knows that Brock Bowers is going to get in a pass pattern. They should expect that. So it would be nice to see. And the other thing that really drives me crazy here, we know that our offensive line is not any good. We know they have a hard time protecting. The Browns are going to rush 4 here on this play, and they're going to get pressure pretty quickly. But that's to be expected against the Raiders, where you're going to get pressure pretty quickly. If you watch the play, how come none of these receivers are turning their heads around quickly? And on the wheel route, you're going to see Tyler Lockett doesn't turn his head around until like after he gets sacked. You're going to also see that Dante Thornton and Trey Tucker, they're kind of setting up. They're running routes to set up Tyler Lockett for the wheel route. But the Browns are able to pass up their man coverage responsibilities real well, and they're able to shut down the wheel route. So
let's watch that last beat, because what you said makes a lot of sense. Now watch. Look at all the Raiders' heads. The only one that's kind of looking right now is at the bottom of the screen, Ashton Jeanty. Okay, so
Gino's not looking at.
Okay, stop. Where's our receivers on a 4th and 4? One's 25
we got 3
yards
way down the field.
30 yards down the field, 22 yards down the field, 11 yards down the field, and 7 yards. So the quickest throw for him is the 7-yard throw. Shanahan, if you've ever watched Shanahan's beautiful offense, he'll have a receiver or a tight end right around the 50 somewhere, close to there. And look what's around that. Nobody's there. Nobody, not even from the other team. Everybody went and did like the 40-yard dash.
Yeah.
How can you do a 40-yard dash? So when Oracle's talking about the wheel route, that's him coming from the inside to the outside to run up field, which is not a play that you run unless you would have a really, really good offensive line, especially on 4th down.
And it's 4th down. I mean, you need to convert this 1st down. So you need to have people turning their heads around quickly, and you need to have Gino be able to find an open receiver that has his head turned around so he could get rid of the ball quickly, because shocking, the pressure's coming from the Raiders offensive line. So it's just kind of a comedy of errors on this play. And hopefully this is something that Greg Olsen is able to understand and see, hey, we need to make some changes where we have our receivers get their heads around quickly, because look, Richie Incognito could say run the ball, and I think that is something that would be ideal. But Greg Olsen and Pete Carroll, they're watching practice. They do have a better understanding of how well their line could run block in this situation. And if you can't run block, then you're going to have to call plays where you get the ball out of your hands quickly. And that's another thing Derek Carr said quickly is about Greg Olsen, is he's going to find ways to get Ashton Jeanty the ball in space. So that could be something that could be, and we've seen that a little bit. We've seen Ashton Jeanty be a pretty good receiver and get the ball in space and then get some yak yards after it, making guys miss or running people over.
Yeah, when he has just a little bit of wiggle room. I wanted to show you this play, and I know somebody's probably out there. Some of our fans on the Mad Barber podcast are probably going, "How come you being so mean to Brock Bowers? He's a good blocker." Well, let me show you. I don't know this play design right here, if he has to be on the outside shoulder of Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, Hall of Famer. But this right here is sickening to me to watch this. I don't, and again, I'm not, again, Brock Bowers could be very much a Hall of Famer like Myles Garrett, but this is why you need a tight end that can block. What was that? And then boom. Crush.
Because, well, I don't think Brock Bowers thinks too much about chipping. I think he thinks about,
but that's the offense that we need to do. If you watch the Niners and if you watch even the Ravens with Mark Andrews, that's one of those. And more times Isaiah Likely, they'll be in there to block. They release and they're wide open, and then they have yak. They have the yak, and that's what I'm looking at. Okay, now let's be nice, Raider fans. Yay, everybody!
Yay!
Everybody, go get yourself a soda as Coke and a smile. We're going to show you one of my favorite plays of the season. Did I say season, Oracle?
You did say season. I thought I heard that. Yeah.
My favorite, one of my top 5 plays of the season. And I hope it's one of yours too.
Oh,
okay,
man.
So look at that guy.
Yep. 6 guys on the line, and with the linebacker with the arrow pointing right there, we have 7 potential rushers that could come free. Now, both edge rushers that their hand dirt in the line of scrimmage, they're going to drop out, and it's going to be a 5-man rush by the Browns, and they're going to play cover 1 underneath this. And watch Ashton Dante on this play. Stone him. And then you get the completion to Tyler Lockett. So look, we're starting to see Ashton Dante become more of a complete player. This is what Raider fans should want. Yeah, we knew he was a good runner coming out of college. Yeah, we've earlier in the season, especially in the Chicago Bears game, we started to see him become a really good receiver. But now we're seeing the third phase of the evolution of Ashton Dante, and that's his pass protection ability. Him being able to identify the right person that he needs to protect, and he does a great job of getting this linebacker in a position to where he can't even go anywhere near Geno. So
it's called really the pancake, folks.
Yeah,
and I love pancakes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Bring out the maple syrup.
I love maple syrup. Let's show Ashton Dante with a little bit of maple syrup. Look at that. Look at that line I put on there. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Boom! And that's rookie on rookie crime, right?
I don't know if that. I don't think so. I think that guy's a second-year player. I think that's Ronnie Hickman at Ohio State.
Oh, that's right. You're right. So, guys, after seeing that play, let's watch it again because this is the Matt Barber podcast, and I love watching plays. Look at this, Oracle. Let's watch it twice. This is one of my top 5 plays because Ashton Dante against New England. Remember, we were talking about him. Hey, man, you need to eat. Yeah. And this guy, it's like, don't stand there. Remember, we were making fun of him. It's like, oh, hey, what's up? Oh, my bad. Can I get out of the way for you?
Yeah.
And maybe this, and I don't like the blessing in disguise. It's like, well, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Our Raiders' offensive line suck because it made Ashton Dante a good blocker. Okay, we could have actually worked on that in the off season.
Yeah. Well, hey, he's
working
working on it now, and we're starting to see the development in him. So this is a really great sight to see. Hopefully this continues because we want him to be on the field for 3 downs. I mean, look, having Raheem Mostert is nice, but we want to see Ashton Dante be that 3 down. When you take a back in the top 10, that's what you want. Someone who's going to be good as a runner, as a receiver, and as a blocker.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing the maturization of the last 2 because we know he can run, and he's learning. He missed there was a play in the game where he actually missed a great block by Dylan Parham, and he went inside as opposed to going outside. If he goes outside, he got 6. That's going to happen. It's happened to everybody that's played in the NFL. And then even when the second part of that process is he's going to have to learn his new offensive line next year. And hopefully we can keep them together because whenever you hear, oh, we need the same offensive line, what do they call it? Cohesion? Yeah, they're calling it cohesion with the offensive line. And then if you go at the end of the year, we're going to show you every Love the town hoodie. Look at that. The GOAT. That's my
Yeah,
brother.
definitely.
Yeah, well, it's one of these teams is good right now. But when you need cohesion is a big word. We need cohesion with the offensive line. And at the end of the year, we're going to break down stuff in the offseason. The Oracle and I were, okay, let's see the teams that succeeded this year. How many different offensive linemen did they play during the year? What were the different combinations? Because we're going to go over that. Because we are geeks. Me and the Oracle are geeks. We love Friday night is the Geek Squad. We are definitely the Geek Squad. Tuesday night, we get to have fun and love and get my kids and nepotism like Pete Carroll's son. And
is there
Friday, we got the Geek Squad van right outside.
Oh, yeah.
We love watching film. We love talking film. And we love to hear what other people say. And then at the end of the day, it's a chess match. You know, like we were talking about with Pete Carroll and Spytech and Kip Kelly and Brendan Carroll. And Oracle, tell me if I'm wrong, which I'm probably not, but tell me if I am anyway. Do you think that Pete Carroll didn't fire his son because it was Thanksgiving week? Do you think it was like remember we were talking earlier about Spytech? Okay, I'll pay for Pete Carroll, but you got to give me, Caleb Rogers playing this week. And he's what about Brendan Carroll? Can we get Brendan Carroll? No, we can't do that. We're going to his mom's for Thanksgiving. I don't think
he'll kill me.
He'll kill me. I don't want to get divorced. Doesn't mean that much to me. Okay, so Oracle. Keys to the game against the Chargers. Go from their defense because we're going to show some of their offensive stuff. But what do you see lining up with the come on, John, talk Chargers defense? What do you see that's going to be a pain in our ass? And I'm not obviously we're going to have Khalil Mack and on the defensive line, and then Maivia is that how you say his last name? The kid from USC,
Jordan Mailata, the quarterback?
Jordan Mailata.
Yeah.
That one is that guy's great player already. Yeah. He's got some speed. And so what's going to happen, Oracle? Tell me what's going to happen on the defense. And I'm sure you're going to say this guy DJ's name in there.
Well, I think with the Chargers, anytime you play the Chargers, the number one guy you got to look at is where is Derwin James on the field. And he'll line up a lot in the slot. He'll line up a lot of times either at deep safety or at in the box safety. So they got to really identify where he is. And I would like to see, kind of like I've said all podcasts, whether it's Brock Bowers or Trey Tucker, those two guys be the primary read. And I think ideally they would like to throw away from where Derwin James is. So if Derwin James is going to be lined up on Brock Bowers, maybe we look more towards Trey Tucker. If Derwin James is away from Brock Bowers, then that would be a good time to target Bowers. So besides Derwin James, look, they got a bunch of guys like they got Dante Jackson, they got Cam Hart at corner, they got Elijah Molden at free safety. They got Deion Henley, who's a pretty good linebacker, a little bit undersized, but a guy who could run sideline to sideline. Denzel Perryman, who used to play for the Raiders. And then on the D line, they got a bunch of guys that they rotate in and out there. I mean, they got Caldwell, they got Tart. They got that guy who's got that really long last name that starts with an O, Obinico, who's probably going to be coming back from injured reserve. And then they have Deshaun Hand, Bud Dupree, and then for the edge rushers, they got Tuli Tuipulotu. I think I said his name right. Out of he went to Ohio State, I believe, or
I'm not sure that one. I can't.
He either went to Ohio State or USC. I can't remember the two, but who's probably turned into their best pass rusher this year. He's definitely a guy that the Raiders are going to have to make sure they keep in check. And then, of course, Khalil Mack, who came back from being hurt this year. Look, Khalil Mack is not the elite player that he once was, but he's still definitely a guy who can make an impact in the game, especially
and he gets up for the Raiders. He definitely gets up for the Raiders.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, even though we don't really know the reason as to why he would never got that big contract and was traded away, but I'm sure he would have liked to play with the team that drafted him for the rest of his career. So definitely on the Chargers defense, and they run a really complex scheme with Jesse Minter, who was a Mike McDonald disciple in Baltimore. So it's a lot of different guys in the line of scrimmage, a lot of different coverages, a lot of disguises. So it's, again, another defense that's kind of the opposite of Pete Carroll.
Yeah, and and against the Raiders in the first game, they ran a lot of man coverage, press coverage on the Raiders.
Yeah,
and they did a lot of they did a lot of two safety looks, but the two safeties they would always go to the short side, which would be the weak side of the Raiders, and they would slash all the time, whether they were going for Genty or Geno Smith. That's one of the reasons Geno had 3 picks against the Chargers that night, especially the one that went into the end zone, which was like a 50-50 ball to Jacoby Myers. That was one of those things where I like Jesse Minter's off defense. I think that I would like to see us start to run a little bit more Jesse Minter defense.
Definitely.
I think that the Raiders have the players to do that, especially being long and strong. I think that would be a lot better defense. So before we start that, let's go ahead and Goated Construction 22. That's KyleFry.com. I love KyleFry.com. He sent me beautiful pictures for Thanksgiving. Kiss your beautiful mother for me and tell the old man, look, we're getting no Taco Bell. I'm going to go have a $5 sandwich. I love that. His dad's the greatest dude. That's my family away from my family. All right,
nice.
So let's go ahead and get into the Chargers. You love the Chargers? Let's go ahead. Oracle, what do we got here, bud?
All right. So first play. Look, the number one thing on third, and we're going to show all third down clips that the Chargers are in. And the number one go-to guy on third down for about a decade, even when he took a little sabbatical and went to the Bears, is Keenan Allen. And look, they have Keenan Allen, who's going to run a vertical route, come look for a dig, then run vertical again, and he's going to make a nice catch. Justin Herbert makes a nice throw, and Keenan Allen is going to be in the slot right here. It's a bunch set, so Keenan Allen's going to be the guy in the middle of the bunch on the ball, and the Jaguars are going to be. Is that
going to be on the top, Oracle?
Yeah, it's on the right side? So it's a bunch set on the top of the screen. And then the Jaguars going to be playing cover 6. And then the side that Keenan Allen's on, cover 6 is cover 2 plus cover 4 to the other side. Keenan Allen's going to be on the cover 4 side. So the corner for the Jaguars at the top of the screen, he's going to carry the number one receiver. Now, right now, it's Ladd McConkey who's the number one receiver, who's closer to the boundary. However, once the ball snapped, Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey are going to switch release. And now Keenan Allen has become the number one receiver. So the Jaguars corner is going to play him. We always talk about with zone coverage. Zone eventually becomes man. So with this Jaguars corner, he's going to lock on to Keenan Allen. The Jaguars aren't going to get pressure here. So this is going to allow Keenan Allen a little bit of time to ad lib. Justin Herbert's going to see it. And this is just a really good connection that as Keenan Allen runs his route, he knows that there's a little bit more time. He needs to do a little something to create separation, and Justin Herbert sees it. He knows exactly he's going to keep going vertical, and he throws a perfect throw.
Nice throw.
Perfect throw for Keenan Allen. And this is something that the Raiders really got to watch out on third down. If they're not going to get pressure, Keenan Allen's going to do a little shake and bake. He's going to run a vertical dig, then he's going to go run a corner route and make a nice catch.
Yeah, it's a beautiful play right there. We'll watch it from the end zone one more time. And I think we're going to look at it more and more. Justin Herbert's been a runner this year more than I've ever seen. And he's not running badly. He's actually looks like a very, very well-versed, like he's done it before, and he didn't really look very good running the ball years before. He looked a little bit like Bambi. He kind of was a loper. And right now he's got himself into moving north and south, and he's still not when what I've noticed that he doesn't do well is he doesn't know how to sit down and slide. He'll go head first. He's reckless at the end of the plays. And reckless can mean two things when you're a defender. It looks like you have a big hit on him, and then as soon as his ass starts to fall, you whack him, there's another 15 on top of it. Or if you can get him on a blind side, you can knock this guy out of the game or shake him up, because Justin Herbert, in my opinion, is the P word that ends in a Y. He does not like to get hit at all. And if you start hitting that guy, he crumbles. He crumbles. You talk about the quarterback must go down early. There's no bigger time than this one with right here, because this guy is a very much of a very much with one hell of an arm. Just one hell of an arm. Look at Dave Freitas is here. He's got to talk about Cal. Look, Dave, I love you, and I love when you come in with Cal, but I lost a lot of money last week on Cal Stanford. How do you lose Stanford?
Oh, my
You
God.
lost
Yeah, definitely.
Stanford. Not only did John Souza lose money on that game, but now you come here when Cal players go to the AFC West, see Tony Gonzalez. Oh, yeah. See Tony G. Yeah, that was a nightmare, wasn't it? Man. Or Chuck Muncie. Oracle loves Chuck Muncie.
The old he played on the Chargers in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
From
Cal.
Yeah.
He's a Cal guy.
Yeah.
Look at Dave Freitas. He just wants to remind me that I lost money. He knows I'm Portuguese. How was your drop-offs today, Dave? I love it.
Definitely. So, I mean, look, with Cal players, I remember there was a player that I think it was Dave wanted me to watch. There was some linebacker he wanted me to watch. I still need to get around to that. So we'll definitely get around to that.
Dave, we'll get back to you on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. We can't let Dave down.
Cal went from a December 31st ball game. They'll probably play the Johnny's Donut Bowl in Dublin.
Yeah.
They're going to play
the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Against the Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan Rough Riders.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and go to this. Oracle, let's talk about this again. Looks like.
All right.
Close the door. My dogs are going crazy.
So look, here we got a 3x1 set. We're at the top of the screen. We got 3 receivers. We have Keenan Allen, who's going to be the number 1 receiver at the top of the screen. And the Jaguars are going to play the same coverage again. They're going to be in cover 6. So at the bottom of the screen is going to be the cover 2. He's going to be in man, actually. And then the corner for the Jaguars at the top of the screen is going to play cover 4. So watch the corner at the top of the screen. I want you to watch the nickel back on this play and watch them converge on Keenan Allen. So they did a good job understanding that it's 3rd down. Justin Herbert wants to go to Keenan Allen. They kind of present a little window that there is a way that Justin Herbert could fit it in there, but they did a really good job of closing on that window when Justin Herbert looked over to Keenan Allen. So this is something that the Raiders need to do, kind of show them that window a little bit, because it looks like Keenan Allen could be open. Justin Herbert could take the bait, and because he took the bait, it's an incompletion, and then the Chargers are forced to punt in that situation. So this is definitely something that the Raiders need to incorporate. And if Justin Herbert would have pump faked on this one, he would have had Ladd McConkey wide open running vertically. So hopefully this is something that Justin Herbert is not able to watch in the game plan, and hopefully this is something that the Raiders could capitalize on again too.
Yeah, let's watch that again, because the Oracle makes a good point. They gambled a little bit, and this could have bit him in the butt, because Ladd McConkey's running wild if he missed this play. Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the deep safety would have caught up with him, but look, it was a good
throw,
gamble.
Though. That's an easy pitch and catch.
Yeah, but it was a good gamble by the Jaguars, and it definitely paid off, and it definitely understanding that Keenan Allen's the guy they want to go to on 3rd down, and them shutting it down.
Back to Mike Minter, Mike Minter's defense. When they were another team that exposed the Raiders on the on that where they would wait for the double team and then rush the backside blitzer, which Perriman did really well on the backside of the hole between the guard and the tackle. That's something that I would really, really watch the Raiders with. Now with Greg Olsen, he will implement a screen. He is that guy. I know the way he likes the low, get the ball out. He is a Gruden disciple. He was with Gruden the whole time. So you're going to see a lot of different plays that you haven't seen this year before from Greg Olsen. How much time does he have to input them correctly and getting all of our technique and the little things we need to do on those plays right? That's what you're going to have to do to Jesse Minter's defense, the quick throws, because he's playing a lot of men. He's going to put 9 in the box. He has no problem playing 9 in the box. And him and Mike McDonald, look how well the Seahawks are another team.
Yeah.
Really, really aggressive. It's in a very, very aggressive, not a wait and see, bend but don't break like Raiders defense that you've seen for 5 years. But let's go ahead and see one of the plays that the Oracle and I love. And it's from somebody that we've been talking about all year long. And we were like, we're still miffed by the compete, why this guy's not on the field all the time. Okay, so right at the top, what do we got there, Oracle?
So we got what looks like a cover 3. So it looks like Polamalu is the single high safety playing the center field role. And then we have Darian Porter, who's at the top of the screen against, I don't know who the receiver is, but
it's like Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. So Shedeur is under center. He's going to run a play action rollout. And Shedeur is going to initially see Darian Porter carrying Jerry Jeudy vertically. However, Darian Porter is going to stop and look at Shedeur, and it's not cover 3. If it was cover 3, he would continue to run with Jeudy vertically. Now, this is something, the play call that the Browns are running is a concept called the Yankee concept. Now, what the Yankee concept is by the boundary receiver running a vertical route, they are trying to yank the corner away from where they want to throw the ball to. They want to throw the ball underneath, kind of in the intermediate part of the,
right about the 30
right about where the 40 yard is. Now, if it's cover 2, the corner would be right where the 40 is. Now, Porter is going to stop his cover 3, and I want to give a credit to my man Matt Holder, who has a really good podcast called Tape Don't Lie. He called this a trap coverage. And what a trap is they're trapping Shedeur into thinking it's cover 3, but really he stops and plays it like cover 2 at the last second. Shedeur is completely fooled by this. He thinks he has the receiver running the over route wide open because he thinks Darian Porter is running vertically, but that's not the case. Porter is able to come back and almost make a play on the ball. And this is a really good job of putting in the trap by Pete Carroll, Patrick Graham, and it's something that really fooled Shedeur. And I'm curious to see if they're able to incorporate more into this going forward. So I really think that these are the plays right here that are getting Raider fans excited for Darian Porter being on the field more. We saw Pete Carroll say that he definitely needs more playing time, and I'm really excited about this. At least this is one rookie that we're able to see develop a little bit, and hopefully there's more to come of plays like this.
Yeah. And again, we love Darian Porter. The Oracle and I, we see so much quality technique in him, and he always seems to make the right play. The results on the run play have been a mixed bag, but usually pretty good. It's not like we're like, oh God, this guy. And again, remember, he was a wide receiver in his junior year, and his coach brought him in and said, we think we can make you an all conference defensive back, and in which they did, and he did really well. So Oracle, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, same with you.
And then for this Sunday, the Mad Barber podcast will be live in this Black Hole Party in Sacramento on Madison Avenue in Citrus Heights. They're going to have one hell of a raffle this weekend. It's going to be at Shenanigans. I'm looking forward. I'm bringing my family there because my family's foodies and they love to eat. And from what I understand, it's going to be great there for the Greasons. I'm going to get there a little early. And for this weekend only, we're going to do a pregame show, the Oracle and I. We're going to do right about a half an hour before the show. We're going to get on. We're going to talk about the keys to victory and probably have some guests come by and say hello. And we're going to have Mariachi Tony will be there. And if you guys could say a prayer for Mariachi Tony, he's been under the weather a little bit, but he's a man. Puts this kid, he's standing up. He's a badass. He don't care. He's going to be there. He's going to push through. Him and his granddaughter will be performing, in which we will show hopefully live. And then the Oracle and I will also do a halftime show. And we're going to be either WTF or Oh Hell Yeah. And then midway through the fourth quarter, right at the second timeout, usually around the 7 to 8 minute mark, we're going to finish the game out. And that's going to be our Raider recap. So you guys are going to be able to go ahead and comment for the whole fourth quarter. So get live and get crazy. If you guys are anywhere near the Sacramento area this weekend, it's going to be a blast. These guys, I mean, from what I've seen live, and then they just had a great food drive for Thanksgiving. Remember Carmen that came on?
Yeah.
Her and Steven just did a wonderful job. It looked like they got a ton of stuff. And unfortunately, Carmen will be in Los Angeles to see the Raiders play the Chargers. And so I will not get to meet her in person, but I will be able to get to meet all of the Black Hole people in person this weekend. I'm looking for a Tuesday night guest who can rival the Oracle on Raider trivia. Maybe we'll see what we can do. But I'm going to be out there, guys, and I love talking Raider football. I have my family, and I'm going to be eating, and then hopefully we have a good time, and then the game comes out the way the Raider fans want it to come out.
Hopefully, definitely. And look, definitely excited to see the scene at Shenanigans. It's going to be fun. Prayers for Mariachi Tony. We hope he's okay. And yeah, definitely. Look, hopefully this could be kind of like how we showed trap coverage right there. Hopefully this is a nice little trap game for the Chargers. And the Raiders are able to capitalize it. Greg Olson's able to excite the fan base with his play calling. Mistake-free Geno game. The defense is able to capitalize. Look, let's not forget the Raiders had 2 turnovers. The Jeremy Chin punch-out, and then the Charles Snowden, who, by the way, is starting to play more. Charles Snowden. We're starting to see a little bit more of him. He even played more snaps than Tyree Wilson and Malcolm Kuntz last week. So, look, it'd be nice to see if he could come along and maybe be the other edge rusher that could go across Max Crosby that the Raiders have been direly looking for.
Well, that's what happens when you compete, Oracle. And then we can find out what we need to do instead of letting a guy like Chason go to the Patriots. Maybe we don't get rid of Snowden this year to the Patriots, maybe because he is a free agent after the end of the year. Let's see what we have. We already have seen 10 games of Malcolm Kuntz, and I don't want him back. I'm sorry. If you want to give us you got $15 million this year. If you want to go ahead and come back for $1 million next year and be a spot player, okay, I'm fine. But go to Kansas City. I don't really care. Hold on. We have an update. Go Raiders. John Boyer. Sousa Linguiça was awesome. Wasn't my Sousa. It was my brother's Linguiça. That's what I'm doing here, Oracles. I'm here making Linguiça. My brother's teaching me how to make Linguiça. And
nice.
Oh, man. It's his Linguiça is so good.
Nice. Definitely.
And the Batesel, Danny B came by today, and we gave him, or my brother gave him some linguiça, and I guess it passed the test.
Good, definitely. Well, hey, you're developing your linguista skills. Maybe the Raiders could develop some of the young players.
I get Oracle working it.
Now you're going to have to compete with your brother for the who makes the linguiça next year. So maybe Pete Carroll could come and taste both your linguiças.
What was that one word you used early in the show?
Develop.
Develop.
Yeah.
Develop. Can we get a coach and call him Dave and then Ella?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Definitely. We'll find. Hey, that'll be the criteria. You got to be named Dave. lower the list of candidates.
Oh, Jesus. So Oracle will be ready, right? Game time on Sunday will be 1:25. That's when the kickoff will be at 1:25. So looks like we'll be on right around 1 o'clock from Shenanigans. So we will see everybody on Sunday. Sunday, fun day. Oracle, you have a great night tonight.
You too, Johnny. Thanks for having me on.
Are you kidding me? Did you see that guy that I had? Your fans are everywhere now. They want Oracle 8x10s. They love that Oracle.
Hey, we'll see what we could do. Maybe we could get him a fat head or something like that.
An Oracle fathead.
Yeah.
That would be epic. All right, we will see you on Sunday right around 1 o'clock. Oracle, I will see you one day. All right, guys.
All right.
Good night now.
Good night now.
Now it's Siani to the left. Biletnikoff to the right against Marsalis. Back is Lamonica. Throws for Biletnikoff. Touchdown Raiders! Biletnikoff is having words right now with Marsalis. Fred caught that ball after quite a physical battle with Marsalis in the right corner of the end zone. He went on out of the end zone, and then instead of slamming the ball into the turf, he ran back in about 10 yards to where Marsalis was and defiantly slammed it in the turf in front of Marsalis. The two tight ends are lined up as tight ends. Back goes Darrell to pass. He's looking for Smith, but instead goes down the middle. Chester, touchdown Raiders! Holy Toledo, what a great ball! 19 yards and a Raider touchdown to make it 22-3. Chester had gotten free at the 5 and was all alone in the end zone 2 yards in. The Chargers now have a brilliant opportunity to put this game away. Here's Williams to the left, Garrison to the right, flanks right, Charlie Smith out to the left as a wingback, leaves only one back to block, that's Hubbard. Lamonica back, gets fine blocking, now he throws down the middle, Branch at the 20. Branch at the 18, tripped up, keeps going, reverses to the 15, he's at the 10, he dances down to the 9-yard line. First and goal to go Raiders. 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go, and hang on to your hats. Branch is still in. He goes to the right, slotted inside Biletnikoff. 5 defensive backs in there. Lamonica gives to Smith, sending him to the left. He's got Upshaw in front. He's at the 5. He's at the 2. It's a touchdown Raiders! Charlie Smith from 9.5 yards out. Oakland has gone in front. Clarence Davis is in for Charlie Smith. He's a deep threat on pass reception. Back goes Stabler to pass, steps away from the rush. He's going to run up the left side. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown!